Hi, welcome to the Periodic Table Podcast. We're glad you're here today. Notice on the periodic table, you've got element squares. These element squares can show you about the atomic number at the top, the symbol of the element's name, as well as the atomic mass. The table is organized like this, and we're going to talk about all those different aspects of the table, one thing at a time. So we'll start with the columns. What is up with these vertical columns going down? Well, we're going to find out that there are very similar properties of the elements in a vertical column. So like you and your family members, they behave similarly, and that's why we call these families. And you need to learn the names of these families that are labeled here. And another very important term besides the vertical families or groups is also the rows going across. And these rows are also called periods because just like recurring events such as calendar days of the week, just like the weeks, these periods sort of repeat a pattern. And so we'll talk about that later on some more. Important sections of the table for you to know. Altogether, the first two vertical columns and the last six make up the main group elements. These ones in between are all metals, and they have certain properties. They typically are the ones that are very shiny and give you a lot of color, and some are even very expensive and valued. And these lanthanide and actinides down at the bottom here, they actually fit into this region right here. Whoops, sorry. Sometimes this pen doesn't know whether to write or to move pages. So just to show you right here in this general area here, that's where these inner transition metals fit. And those are some very interesting, and we won't be touching upon those as much. But you notice how it was awkward for these inner transition metals to be down at the bottom. Some periodic tables are made in such that they incorporate them right into their into this section here so that it follows the numbering system in order. But most people do not want to have periodic tables that extend beyond the length of their walls, and so it's been rather convenient to write it, to put this group at the bottom. Okay, so from these tables, very simply speaking, we can actually notice some other patterns. One of the patterns, what do you notice? These here are all solids at room temperature. These in the green are liquids at room temperature. And notice all of these with these little gassy wisps in the boxes. Those are all gases at room temperature. And so you can see that there's a pattern of location for states of matter. Another topic, metallicity, it's how metallic something is. A metal is something, as you know, that conducts electricity. It has a tendency to be shiny. You can roll it into sheets. And the further to the left here you are, the more metallic it is. And then the further to the right, it becomes less and less metallic. So that's just a rule of thumb for you, and that will become easy for you to understand as we continue studying. And this little line right here kind of divides. So this staircase right here is the dividing line between the metals on the left and the nonmetals on the right. And the ones in the yellow right here are actually materials that can have both metal and nonmetal properties, and we call those metalloids. So that's an important term. And depending on what temperature you have them at, you can make them into materials that are metal or non-metal, depending on your need. And finally, reactivity. You can pretty much see through this graphic periodic table that in the blue area, these elements have a tendency to be less reactive, and as it gets more and more towards these fiery ends, that is the southwest corner and the northeast corner of the table, the elements become more and more reactive. And so going this way, you get more and more reactive metals. And going in this direction, you get more and more reactive nonmetals. Just want to make that clear that there is a difference in metals and nonmetals.